Hello and welcome to my awesome health journey. I am Brett Dupree, and I was going to talk about this tomorrow, but I have more things I want to talk to tomorrow because today I want to do a 50 yoga session retrospective, technically 51 because I worked out on Wednesday. So I have now done 50 sessions of yoga. I started August 16th ish, around there, mid August. So, um, 9 months of yoga, almost a year. And yeah, it's been an interesting ride. I started out with yoga, not really liking it, and after 50 sessions later, I still am not a big fan. But not a big fan in the sense of like, I suck at it, and it's hard, and I'm stiff, and I'm in pain, and I can't do a lot of the things. And I just like being good at things. And being bad at yoga is difficult to doing it. But at the same time, I do feel better after. In fact, I feel great afterwards, especially when it's like 60 to 70 degrees outside. Just sitting, getting in that, being kind of cold and going into that warm room and then doing all those poses and stuff and leaving and getting all that sweat out. I always bring a bottle of water and I get through that entire thing during the entire class and just leaving it. It's just this a refreshing feeling. I would love to say I feel limber all day, but I don't. I feel limber for a while and then I feel all stiff again. And then I wake up sore and stiff the next day. At least that's how I woke up yesterday when I had yoga on Wednesday. But at the same time, I have noticed a lot of improvements. So basically, my yoga story is simple. Just over a year ago, B Yoga started, or just under a year ago, and I was like, "Ooh, that's a good deal." And then I waited a couple weeks because and missed their founder thing, but I did the 50 for unlimited. By unlimited, I did 4 because that's all I wanted to do. So I did yoga once a week, and I thought I felt good, and I did. And for a solid 5 until February is when I started doing it twice a week, Wednesdays and Sundays. I talked to Copilot, Microsoft's AI, and I was like, put in my workout, is that too much? And it told me no, yoga is a great recovery workout, and for the most part, I think they're right. By they, I mean the billions of computers that goes to the middle of the road by tokens that soak up probably like 3/4 worth of water to answer that question. But there's no ethical consumption in capitalism. Half the stuff I'm using to have this communication was mined by children. The materials. And yeah. Anyways, the important part about yoga for me has been the benefits. When I first started yoga, it was hard for me to downward dog, that move, for the entire time, and now I'm mostly able to, unless in Orange Theory did a very heavy shoulders workout, then it's really hard when I do yoga. Another thing that has really improved is my leg strength, my ability to just keep my legs in the air. So a lot of times you got to put on your back and put your legs in the air. There's a lot of legs in the air with yoga. Yeah, a lot of legs in the air. Very, very legs in the air. And I just couldn't do it. I guess as a man, I just don't put my leg in the air a lot. But it's just my legs were just not, they're just too weak and they're too heavy. And now I can keep my legs in the air. One of my goals now is to be able to do Happy Baby, which I just don't have enough flexibility in my hips to get and strength in my core to get my arms up and hold them. But I use a strap. And my core has gotten stronger as well. That's one reason why I did yoga is I thought like Orange Theory did a lot of good workouts, but certain things like core and hip flexibility and flexibility on a whole, I just wasn't doing anything. And I was like, I need a stretch at home, and I don't do that. Which, yeah, I'm able to touch the ground while standing. I don't know if I could done that in high school. I think I could, but I don't remember because this wasn't that important back then to worry about. Back then I wasn't like super stiff like I am now. Um, my hip rotations are a lot better and a lot stronger. My hip flexors are so much stronger. When I first got to yoga, I could barely just sit down and lift one of my legs in the air. I used to, when they did boat pose, to just lift one leg after another, and that's all I could do. Now I could, with my arms on the ground, actually lift up. I'm able to bridge, something that was harder for me before yoga. In fact, we did bridges today at Orange Theory on the bench, and I was able to do them for the most part, even though my weak ass core is really tired right now. And yeah, so those things have helped a lot. Just especially stabilizer muscles. If you've been following me, which you probably haven't, no one watches these anyway. I hurt my ankle a couple years ago. And I think one thing that helped, not only just slowing down because my hamstring, was doing all of the one-legged exercises in yoga. And I think my desire also of going twice a week was right, because I feel like my improvements started to improve a lot more when I started doing yoga twice a week, especially with Sunday's class, doing the same focused, it's the same routine every time. So I'm able to really see my improvement and areas where I improve. And it's also just an easier one. The one on Wednesday is more of like a flow yoga, and that one's really hard for me, especially like going from standing to downward dog with a plank in the middle, which is still hard for me. But where before I couldn't do it at all, now I can kind of do it, like being able to get up off the floor without going on my knees, and just it's something I can do now. I have lost like 40 pounds at least. I'm weighing myself next week because it's going to be 700 at Orange Theory, so I want to know how much I weigh at 700. But weighing myself next week, so I'll see how I'm down. But also losing 40 pounds has helped, especially with downward dog. I still have some issues. For instance, having one leg in the air for some reason makes me very lightheaded, especially if I put my head below my head leg. I'm hoping that stops someday. And I just hope I continue to get better. As I said, my next goals by the next 50, I'm really hope when I'm at 100 workouts, 100 yoga workouts, I'm able to actually do Happy Baby without going on my strap. I'm hoping I'm able to do a full boat pose with my arms in the air and everything. That's one of my goals, to be able to do. Be able to actually do side planks. Actually, I did one on one side and not on the other as much, but I really would like to be able to do that. And just to continue to improve. My ultimate goal, as I told one of my friends, is just be able to do one of the flows without having to do something different. I want to be able to go from like standing to folded to downward dog to plank, and then do upper dog, and then back to downward dog, and then be able to go back to standing. I want to be able to do that in like a nice flow. And once I'm able to do that, that's when I'll feel like, I've got this yoga thing down. But overall, the people are there great. I really enjoy all the teachers that I've met, and everyone's so happy and nice, and I really like the flow. B Yoga is a really cool place. So I'm really happy I joined. I'm happy I do yoga. As I said, I don't have to like it. That's one thing I'm just getting in my mind, is just I don't have to like working out. I don't have to enjoy myself. But the most important part is I had to find my enjoyment, and I have to get better and find the enjoyment of getting better. So thank you for listening to my little yoga rant. I love you for who you are, and thank you, and always, you are worthy.